And we're live.
Welcome back, everyone. Episode 65 of Kids Deserve It. We hope you've been enjoying our weekly chats with educators and game changers from around the country. Also, don't forget, you can check us out on iTunes.
And don't forget our new weekly competition of leaving a review for us on iTunes with your Twitter handle there. And we are selecting a winner every week to get an autographed book set from us.
Also, don't forget, you can check us out on our Kids Deserve It chat on Wednesdays at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time, 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And this week, we've got another great guest, but first we want to introduce ourselves. I am Adam Welcome, Director of Innovation and Technology in the Bay Area of California.
I'm Todd Nesloni, Elementary School Principal in Navasota, Texas. And our special guest this week is Sally. How do we say your last name? Is it Pla?
Blah. Just the way it's, yeah, rhymes with blah. Very weird name.
Well, we are so thrilled to have you on, Sally. We also want to remind our viewers to participate in social media using the hashtag #KidsDeserveIt, as we always love to see the things that are sticking out to you.
So, Sally, we have a few questions for you. So, for those who don't know about you, tell us about yourself.
Well, I am a debut middle grade author. My first book, The Someday Birds, just came out in January, just a couple months ago. And I'm really excited to be writing for kids in middle school age. I think it's the coolest, most exciting age, that coming of age time. And I'm excited to be doing that. So that's my book, The Someday Birds. I have a second book I write with HarperCollins. My second book is coming out in February of 2018. It's called John Lockdown is in the Building. And I have a picture book coming out as well with Lian Lowe sometime this year. And most of my work, all of my books, have something to do with neurodiversity, or kids that are just a little bit, whose brains are wired a little bit differently.
Nice.
I really wanted you to be a guest on the show because I read the book, The Someday Birds, and I had seen on the back where it said, if you love Fish in a Tree or Counting by Sevens, you'll love this book. And those are both two of my favorites. And when I read The Someday Birds, I could not put it down. I called one of my friends and I was like, oh my gosh, you have to read this book. So can you tell us a little bit more about that book and kind of where the idea came from?
Yeah, absolutely. Actually, I have it. I can show you. Shameless plug. This is the book.
Awesome.
Yeah, I have three sons, and this is a road trip story about a 12-year-old boy. He's on the spectrum, and he has some issues, and he's forced to go on a cross-country journey to see his father, who's been injured in Afghanistan, and it's really tough for him. And he's a birder, and he loves birds. And with his dad, he thought of they'd made a list of birds to see together in the wild someday. So Charlie, as he's like thrust in this cross-country journey he's not really wanting to take, decides, well, if I can see all the birds on that list that my dad and I wanted to see, then maybe I can show that to my dad and it'll help him feel better, or it'll be sort of a gift I can give him. And the idea kind of came from my three boys. When they were young, we took all of those Griswold family vacation trips in the car. In the book, it's a RV, and our family, it was just an old dented Grand Voyager. But we went one summer to Wyoming, through Yellowstone. Another summer we headed east. We had lived in Wisconsin at the time. So we headed east and we went to Colonial Williamsburg and the Amish country. And basically we hit most of the places in the book as a family. And my middle son is autistic, and it was really hard for him. And I have to say it was a little hard for me too, because we were in that car with the three boys. He has very specific food. He just only eats chicken nuggets, my middle son, and he just likes things a certain way and likes them to be clean. And it was really tough to go on that trip. At one point, we were sitting in the 110th, chicken nugget restaurant of our family vacation, and my oldest son, turned to my middle son and said, you should just write a travelogue someday, and just you could call it Chicken Nuggets Across America, because that's all we've done, and that's all you've eaten. And the idea just stuck in my head. I've always been a writer, a business writer. I've written various things, but always wanted to write a novel. And that idea just stuck in my head, a travel journal about, just how hard it is to take that kind of journey, about the inner journey of learning how to be more at ease in the world when you're a kid, where that doesn't come easily for you, where change is tough. So that was sort of how it came together.
I love that story. As a former elementary principal, I can just relate to having students that share similarities in my school. So very, very good connection. So has writing always just been something you've loved? I mean, a lot of writers at first maybe have trouble sharing their writing with the world. Have you ever, has it always been something you've loved, and did you ever have trouble sharing it with people when you just started off?
Yeah, there's a lot of self-doubt, I think, at the beginning of this. And I think I've always wanted to be a writer since I was like maybe 9 years old. And I have to say, when I was in elementary school, my teachers really encouraged me and said, yeah, your stories are wonderful. Write more stories. But, you grow up and you think, oh, who does that? Who tells themselves they can write a novel? So I was just a business writer for many years, and I enjoyed that. But, I ended up with a serious health scare, a number of years back. And I thought, jeepers, I'm getting older. If I'm ever, this is my dream. I've got to just go ahead and do it and try. Mm-hmm. So, I set aside time to just sort of dive in and not worry about it too much. But, yeah, for me, if I was going to do it, I wanted it to be something meaningful. I wanted to share something really more from my heart, and just be vulnerable and just go for it, because, we don't have a lot of time. So if this is, I wasn't sure that was the only book I was going to write or not. So I was like, well, I'm just going to go for it.
I love that. Just go for it. It's all you gotta do.
So Sally, how else do you push yourself to kind of keep learning and growing?
Well, it looks like I'm going to be continuing to write books, and I'm just gonna keep on. I feel like I do have a lot more stories. I have a second story about a boy who's not autism spectrum, but just for sensory processing disorder and highly anxious. And he is he doesn't speak very much. He has only a few, like 3 or 4 people that he'll feel comfortable speaking with, which is very much like me when I was a kid growing up in school. And it's how he overcomes all that stuff. But he's a comics trivia fanatic, like total nerd, and he just loves that. And that kind of gets him through, and he does this crazy treasure hunt. So writing his character really helped me sort of confront another aspect, maybe not of my son so much, but of myself. And I have a third novel that I'm working on where it's a girl, middle school aged girl who is dealing, with a lot of social anxiety and, self, identity issues. So I feel like I'm just like walking a journey with these characters, and thinking about all the issues that really plagued me as a kid growing up. And I'm trying to kind of address them a little bit, I guess. When I was looking at your blog today, you guys have such an inspirational, wonderful blog with some great resources up there. I have to say that kids deserve it. But you had this one Canva thing, and it was like, be the person that you needed when you were young, kind of. I just love that. That resonated with me so much, and I think that's what I'm really trying to do a little bit with the books. I'm just trying to walk these kids through, because I don't know. That's just, yeah.
Well, hearing your story, it just seems like you're just telling a story, and your writing is just happening so naturally, and you don't have to force it. You're just telling the story of traveling and just of your childhood or your kids, or some composition of that, which I know makes it, when Todd and I wrote our book, it was easy because it's what we believe in and what we do, and it wasn't something that we were trying to do, so it's nice when the writing process happens that way. So Sally, what was school like for you growing up?
Well, school, I guess academically it came easily for me, but socially it was really, really hard. I'm somebody that actually, as a process of writing the Someday Birds, sought out therapy and ended up going for an evaluation, and ended up with my own autism diagnosis, I have to say. And it's put so much of my childhood into perspective for me. It's amazing. So many things have just gone click, 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 right into place. When I was a kid, I was basically selectively mute. I didn't talk much in school. I was super shy. I had a stomach ache and almost threw up every day on the bus on my way to school because it was so stressful for me. I was the invisible kid in the back of the classroom, shrinking away as far from everything as I possibly could. I never raised my hand, even though I always knew the answer. And so I just kind of tried to fly under the radar. I didn't know what to do during recess. I was terribly uncoordinated, so I was picked last at every game. I was the kid during kickball that everybody would like come into the like really close and start chanting, easy out, you know?
Right.
It's just, yeah, I had some issues, but I don't know. It was tough. It was really tough. I feel like I worked through a lot of those growing up, but I remember so well how hard that was.
Right.
Well, you know, Sally, we all have those days where it's like we don't want to get out of bed, or we're in a difficult space or anything like that. What do you kind of do to kick your butt into gear to go ahead and get up and attack the day?
Yeah, I think it's a conscious decision. You know, it's my year of saying yes this year, and I feel like I'm growing so much along with, you know, this whole process with the book. I just tell myself I'm going to say yes to things. If there's an invitation, I'm going to accept it. You know, if there's something new facing me, I'm going to do it, especially if it scares me, because I'm finding that the result of pushing myself has always been positive. So I'm just going for it.
Go for it. That's a theme, definitely. All right, Sally. Every week, we like our guests to leave a challenge for our viewers. What is your challenge for the week?
My challenge, I guess, is for teachers and classrooms to find some way that's comfortable and natural for them to talk about the term neurodiversity with their kids. That would be, I think, maybe an interesting and cool discussion. Or just go online and check out a website that I find is excellent, which is the Autism Self-Advocacy Network. And you can find them at autisticadvocacy.org.
And isn't the National Autism Day coming up?
April is Autism Awareness Month. So
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, just in a matter of days.
To talk about this.
Right, we're kicking it off right here.
Awesome.
There we go. Thank you so much for coming on. Like I said, your book was such a powerful read for me. And when we think about guests, we always think of people that inspire Adam and I personally. And so I just knew that I had to see if you would be interested. So I'm so thankful that you gave us some time today.
Oh, I'm so thankful too. Thank you. If anybody wants to reach out to me more, I'm at sallyjpla.com.
Awesome. And thank you everybody for watching the show. And remember to tweet us using the hashtag #KidsDeserveIt. And don't forget about our competition on iTunes for leaving a review, as we select every Friday using your Twitter handle. Join our Twitter chats and check out our special guest this week. We've got double episodes this week coming on Thursday night with Penny Kittle. Great evening.
Thanks, Sally.